So our story starts with our boy Rito, the crowned king of bad luck, sneaking around like a level 1 ninja as he spies on his dream waifu, Haruna. For 2 whole years, Rito's been trying to confess his love to her, and every single time, fate steps in and says, "Not today, buddy." We're not talking mild inconveniences here, we're talking full-blown disasters. One attempt ended with a soccer ball to the face, another with him getting run over by a car, and let's not forget the literal spaceship that landed on him. It's like the universe looked at him and said, "Nah, you're staying single, my guy." As if that wasn't bad enough, rumors start flying around the school. Some people think Rito's been up to no good, but in reality, someone just trashed the school garden. Everyone except sweet Haruna, who refused to believe her totally innocent crush could ever do such a thing. But let's be real, our boy was too busy failing at life to even think about flowers. The thing is, when the guy is at home, he talks to his friend to tell him about the tremendous fail he had that day. Like any soulmate friend, he makes fun of him and tells him that he will end up being a virgin for the rest of his life. So while in the bathroom, thinking dirty thoughts and with the intention of giving the snake a good stroking, a huge explosion occurs in his bathtub and a tremendous beauty appears. Damn, what technique did she use? I'm interested to know, okay, just kidding. R goes crazy and looks for his sister to show her the tremendous knockers that the waifu has, but when they get to the bathroom, the waifu had disappeared. After thinking it was just his lustful imagination, he heads to his room, and upon entering, he hears her say, "I was waiting for you here, daddy." Oh no, dude, I want to live that dream. Seriously. She introduces herself as Lala, an alien from the planet Deviluk. She was on Earth because she was escaping from some pursuers, but as she used a device that teleports her randomly, she ended up in the protagonist's bathtub, completely naked. At that moment, a little robot that she designed appears. The little guy tells her that everything was in order and that they had escaped from the pursuers. The cheerful waifu removes her towel and puts on a special suit designed by her robot, a suit that honestly makes any virgin's heart race. But the peace they had is shattered when a couple of goons appear. The robot had been stupid and let himself be followed by these guys. Since she couldn't escape again, she tries to defend herself. R didn't know what the hell was happening in his room, but like any guy, he can't let a waifu be kidnapped before his eyes. So he hits the guy with a huge ball and escapes with her over the rooftops, arriving at a park where they are surrounded. This guy in a spaceship appears, asking Miss Lala to please return to her home. What? Really? If all this escape was simply because Lala was rebellious and didn't want to fulfill her role as the successor to the throne or whatever her plan was on her home planet. Since the guys couldn't leave without her, they try to capture her, but the waifu pulls out a tremendous vacuum cleaner, which causes a huge explosion in the middle of the park. It all seemed like a dream to RTO, but as he walked to class, Haruna stopped him because she had seen him with a girl the night before. That's when the protagonist decides to declare his love once and for all, but when he says the big phrase, he opens his eyes and boom, a pair of waifu boobs are right in front of him, which she accepts his feelings and promises that they're going to get married. After a long day, when he wakes up, he finds himself next to a stunning person, the lovely Lala, completely naked, ready to please her fiancé RTO. Feeling embarrassed, he doesn't know what to do in this passionate moment. However, when his sister enters the room, she is shocked because her little brother had finally stopped being so inexperienced. Lala, after putting on her alluring outfit, tells him that she did some research and found out that it's very common for fiancés to live and sleep together. R tries to tell her that it's not something they should do because what happened yesterday was an accident. She becomes a little sad, to which he can't resist such tenderness and apologizes for treating her that way. Suddenly, the person from last night enters through the window. It turns out that Zast is the right-hand person of the Deviluk king. He tells the protagonist that this engagement is legitimate and nothing was a mistake because he followed all the necessary steps to marry Miss Lala. But when did he meet the requirements? It turns out all of that happened on the same day she arrived, and he laid his hands on her chest. That was considered a very important sign of affection towards her, so any misunderstanding or claim that it was simply an accident is not valid. Plus, if he denies being in love with her and claims he simply touched her out of desire, his planet would be destroyed instantly, not to mention starting an interstellar conflict. Yes, folks, touching a good plot can cause a huge controversy. Feeling somewhat downcast and confused, he goes to school where dear Haruna ignores him all day long. While he waits for her to come out of the changing rooms to talk, he hears a commotion in the hallways. All the people had their emotions going wild because Lala, in her alluring outfit, was looking for her fiancé. When they meet, she hugs him tightly and presses herself against him, which enrages the students who want to confront the protagonist for no reason. After running like crazy and getting trapped, Lala uses her teleportation device, taking them to a random place in the school, the girls' locker room, where the two of them end up without clothes because the device can only teleport living matter. The eventful day finally comes to an end, but when he gets home, he finds Zast having coffee with his family. His sister already knew everything that was going on, so Rito, very determined, asks Zast privately if there's a way to cancel the engagement. Well, since the person is a bit of an adult, he reveals the secret, and the secret to canceling said engagement is touching and squeezing Lala's chest. How delightful. I mean, how unfortunate. He'll have to handle this plot twist. Asterisk, Shim Hotep's face from the mummy. But he has to do it within a 48-hour window, something that seemed easy but turned out to be difficult because his bad luck was with him every step of the way. Even when he was sleeping with her, he ended up grabbing the fluffy robot's head by mistake. With only 1 hour left, he invites her to talk alone, determined to tell her he has to touch the fluffy things. But before that, she thanks him. What? Yes, she thanks him for helping and listening to her, because on her home planet, they're always trying to find her a fiancé, which she dislikes because none of them are her type. That's why she ran away, to be free and choose the person she likes. Those words and that beautiful look make it impossible for Rito to cancel the engagement. Well, at least now he has a lovely companion to look forward to. But the heated moments weren't just going to happen at home. It turns out that Lala managed to enroll in the same high school the protagonist attends. The guys in the class go crazy, and has to take her to the rooftop to figure out how the heck she got in. Well, it was really quite simple. She simply spoke to the principal and said, "Look at my potential as a student." And the old man accepted it. R quickly sets some school rules for her. She shouldn't draw too much attention and has to keep the fact that she's an alien a secret. Yes, of course, with that huge tail of hers, she'll blend in perfectly. However, despite her efforts to be as normal as possible, she excels in everything. She draws amazing artwork, nearly knocks out the referee during sports. So once again, Rito gets into a huge mess trying to cover for her. The thing is, in the hallway, she bumps into Haruna, the quirky girl, who invites him for a private talk. They have a huge conversation in which silence is the most abundant element. Filled with courage and determination, Rito wants to clear up that it was all a misunderstanding, but Hara ends up mentioning that Lala and him look really good together. Those painful words leave our protagonist stone-faced. But well, since his sister saw him down and Lala didn't understand why, they decide to go out for a walk so Lala can explore the city. Obviously, her outfit was very attention-grabbing, so with Peek's help, they skin different clothes to find a perfect one to make her blend in. But this is where the problems start. As they skin so much clothing, the robot runs out of energy, so the design clothes she's wearing start to disintegrate. Before she ends up naked, they take her to a clothing store where Haruna once again sees the two of them together. But wait. Thanks to his sister, she explains that Lala comes from abroad. That's why she's always with Rito, because he's taking care of her. So the four of them go to an aquarium where a romantic moment seems to be unfolding for these two. Haruna was literally blushing and had the intention of telling him something important, but for some strange reason, Lala ends up naked on top of a shark. How lucky. I mean, seriously, what terrible luck the protagonist has, or perhaps how great his luck is. After the aquatic embarrassment, everyone returns to their homes, although the protagonist feels happy because he managed to patch things up with Haruna, or at least that's what it seems. Days went by and Rito was worried because if he becomes the king of Deviluk, he would have to participate in galactic wars in which he wouldn't survive even a second. 1. Because he's an Earthling. 2. Because he's a Virgo. And 3. Because he's a dumbass. Instead of supporting him, Zast makes it clear that he's a dumbass who will bite the dust in the first confrontation. But well, being at home while everyone eats and enjoys the delicious dishes his sister makes, Lala tries to make a special dish from her planet, but I don't think that dish is edible. The protagonist sacrifices himself for the team, and when he tastes the jelly, he starts walking toward Karen's ship. But in that terrible dream, he's awakened by Haru, making his soul return to his body once again. There, the dumbass takes advantage of that opportunity to mention that he won't marry a woman who can't cook because he wants the love of his life to be an amazing cook for him. If Lala can't do that, she should go back to her planet. Okay, I think he went a bit too far, to be honest. Lala leaves the planet crying, and R's life could be said to return to normal, right? Ash. Let me tell you, it didn't. He had gotten so used to waking up with a tremendous mess on his face that he started to miss dear Lala. But to everyone's surprise, the blonde girl arrives in the middle of class and takes him to the culinary classroom. She had prepared a special machine to gather the best ingredients from the galaxy just for him. She also tells him that he doesn't need to go fight for Deviluk by marrying her. He can continue to live on Earth just as they are now. So once the guy calms down, he sits down to watch the amazing tales his waifu is carrying while she visually delights him with her apron. However, things get messy when Haruna arrives and Lala's ingredients unleash themselves, appearing a giant squid, an octopus, and a lobster. People, if there are tentacles, you know things are about to get kinky. Zaston arrives to protect his princess, but he does absolutely nothing. The school begins to be destroyed, and I imagine that in the end, everyone meets their maker, Akno. Alright, now a new student returns. She's the most beautiful in the school, or well, she was until Lala appeared. Realizing that her beauty wasn't powerful enough to captivate men, she challenged Lala to a duel. But Lala forgets about the duel, leaving the blonde waiting. As Lala doesn't show up, she sends her lackey to capture the protagonist, so she can publicly declare that if he doesn't appear within the next 5 seconds, he will be punished on his big forehead. Damn, I want to be punished that way too. To everyone's surprise, Lala does appear, but she's chasing her guard dog, which, without warning, devours the blonde's swimsuit, leaving her naked and embarrassed in front of everyone. Obviously, this wouldn't end there, so they chase after them to uncover the great secret Lala is hiding. Many traps are activated in the courtyard of her house, causing the blonde to fall into a hole and end up in Lala's room. While hiding, she decides to take pictures, but her clumsiness triggers the emergency escape in the room. They both go flying at high speed, causing the doors to open, and the blonde falls from a great height. Lala, of course, wouldn't let anything happen to her and manages to save her, but when she wakes up, she finds herself in the middle of the street again, naked. Well, this waifu likes to be more without clothes than with them. While in a biology class, like any other day, a loud noise shakes the building, an explosion that apparently no one heard. But okay, apparently a space assassin had arrived, and this alien had the intention to abduct Lala because, as it turns out, he's in love with her. The guy wants to get intimate with her, but he's been rejected on more than one occasion. Since he has gathered information about her, he knows that RTO is her fiancé, and this virgin wants to be close to Haruna. So the scoundrel disguises himself as the principal in order to call Haruna as if she had done something wrong, only to capture her and use these cables for, well, to arouse the viewers. But while the alien was up to his shenanigans, Lala wanted to get into the protagonist's head. Yes, you heard that right. The fair-skinned girl wanted to knife him to get to know his deeper feelings. She was being literal, folks. Anyway, the protagonist's buddy comes to warn him that the old pervert was with Haruna, acting a bit strange. Lala stays busy playing around with the buddy while RTO arrives at the storage room. Obviously, like any human, anyone would freak out when they see such a creature. Although the protagonist's eyes were focused on the plot behind him, Lala, getting fed up with waiting for RTO, decides to look for him. Upon finding him and seeing the alien, she tells RTO that this is one of the suitors who won't stop pursuing her. Apparently, the guy has been rejected more times than you can imagine, but he doesn't give up easily. Since she doesn't want to marry him, the guy gets really mad with intentions of beating up the protagonist, but as RTO thinks he's in danger, he tries to throw a punch at him until the alien gives up. Wait, how? It turns out that it was all a facade. The creature was actually a cute little thing from a planet of a weak race. However, this guy has a large number of wives and children who are coming to give him a thrashing for trying to be a ladies' man on Earth. But this little guy wasn't. Coincidentally, a handsome, white-haired dude transfers to the school. This guy is Ren, a childhood friend of Lala, who has always been in love with her. The problem is that despite his childhood being quite traumatic and full of beatings courtesy of Lala, the guy has always wanted her to acknowledge that he's a real man. However, the waifu still sees him as a crybaby. The angry guy decided to start training to surpass Rito. He watched the Rocky Balboa movie, and with that, he got super pumped, underwent intense training, fought with the Yakuza, beat up big guys, and ran over 120 kilometers. There, Rito asks Lala to please tell him that he's a man so that the guy stops bothering him with all this. Lala agrees, and in a prepared ceremony where supposedly 3 years have already passed, the guy finishes his marathon just when she's about to tell him how manly he is. Ren sneezes, which turns him into a sultry lady. Wait, what happened? It turns out that Ren belongs to a special race that has the ability to change their form with a simple sneeze. In other words, when he's a woman, he has a different mentality than when he's a man, meaning that male Ren couldn't hear what Lala was going to say. In a change of scene, we meet the student council president, Yui, who is a bit angry with Lala, Ren, and Haruna, because it turns out that early in the morning, there's a wild and scandalous situation going on as this blonde girl shows up in a super revealing latex outfit that gets everyone's heart racing. Ren arrives to try to kiss the protagonist because apparently her hormones are raging, and in an argument they have, Lala ends up naked. As a result of all this, Yui decides to create a disciplinary council where boys are not allowed to have conversations with girls at any time. Additionally, Rito ends up isolated for having put his face in Yui's pillows. So she thought that with Rito isolated, things would get better, but she realizes that it's not the case because Lala and the others continue to do crazy things that leave them naked after classes. Yui chases after a depressed Rito, but she also realizes that he has a good heart because he not only helps an old lady cross the street but also assists a person who had an accident, fixes some flowers, and decides to find the lost mother of a little girl. At that moment, Yui is completely smitten by the kindness of the protagonist, and well, everything between them was getting resolved until suddenly the protagonist takes off running with Yui in his arms. But what the heck is happening? Well, Lala and the others had planned a meeting to lift Reto's spirits, so with a device that seems to be a magnet, she attracts him from very far away to wherever she is. Come on, what could the magnet be attracting? Suspicious. But here, the problems don't end. Apparently, another guy wants to show Lala the otter. This flying blonde guy landed on Earth a couple of days ago, and when he finally meets Lala, the waifu hardly remembers him. The guy is in the middle of a speech and suddenly takes off for no apparent reason, which makes them think he's gone. However, he was planning a surprise attack on Rito. Lala saves him by tossing him into the air, and then while being kidnapped, damages the blonde guy's flight device. Since the protagonist has been feeling unwell lately, he goes to the infirmary where a gorgeous doctor appears. And damn, why weren't there doctors like that in my school? Mikado treats him, and back at home, the blonde guy returns once again to cause trouble, as usual. Lala kicks him away, and when the guy is already desperate, he encounters Zaston, who, upon seeing him in terrible shape, gives him strange directions. By following the steps exactly, he arrives at a space medical office that is attended by Mikado. Wait, what? Yes, apparently these melons are also from space. In any case, the waifu helps him, and when the protagonist, feeling unwell again, waits for Mikado in the infirmary, the blonde guy arrives to faint. Lala captures the protagonist and leaves as if nothing had happened, but he didn't expect Mikado to arrive angry because he was interfering in her work area. So after being mummified and sent to his home planet, the redhead reveals that there are already many aliens on planet Earth. They simply hide among the humans and don't raise any suspicions. That's why she's there to help visitors from outer space who wouldn't have any medical assistance on Earth. One day, while Rito is shopping for the household, he encounters a beautiful blonde who can't stop staring at him. Those crimson eyes and gothic style leave him mesmerized. The girl was looking at what he was eating, so like any guy, he approaches her to flirt, saying, "Here you go, Miss Tio, delight your palate." When she tastes the delicious candy, she is delighted and quickly rewards him with a fast kiss. Wait, what? Without thinking, the blonde starts to go all out as she was hired to execute the protagonist for being the most ruthless demon to ever set foot in the universe. Rito doesn't understand what the heck is happening, so when he's cornered, Zast arrives to protect him, along with Lala. In a very random way, the one with the plot arrives, Professor Mikado, to inform them that the curvy lady is known as Golden Darkness, and then she leaves, saying that if they need medical attention, she'll be available. The thing is, the idiot Zaston falls into a sewer, and the curvy lady finally has a clear path to fight. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, the waifu has the ability to transform any part of her body into a weapon. Lala decides to be her opponent, and both women engage in a fairly even duel. In the middle of the fight, Lala calls this curvy lady Yami and asks her if she really wants to eliminate a guy who's a dumbass but quite kind-hearted. At that moment, Yami remembers what Rito did when they first met, so she starts to doubt whether to do her job or not. An alien arrives, and this little creature is the reason why Yami wants to get rid of the protagonist. The thing is, it comes to light that everything the creature told her was a lie, so Yami gets angry because, in her terms as an assassin, the person who hires her is forbidden to lie in the information they provide. The angry creature summons a huge frog that spits acid, which obviously gives us tempting moments with Lala being a youth 10 out of 10. Anyway, since the protagonist intervenes in the battle and gives the creature a good beating, Lala seizes the moment to deliver a combo of punches that sends him back home. Yami apologizes for treating them poorly, and since Lala told her she was cute, the girl blushes and decides to stay on Earth supposedly, to keep an eye on Rito. Well, the protagonist's school days are getting hotter and hotter. For some strange reason, the waifus in the middle of class start getting naked, and well, things happen that might make any viewer take a quick bathroom break. While at home, Zast tells him something very important in secret. It turns out that King Deviluk gave him a call in which he mentioned that he had been causing trouble on a planet, and since he's near the solar system, he'll pay a little visit to Earth to meet his future son-in-law, who is also expected to be his successor. So Zast tells the protagonist to keep his hormones in check and not hang out with too many waifus because the king could be watching him at any moment. But since this guy has a magnet for awkward situations, he's constantly getting into trouble with the girls. Yami even shows up at the school with the intention of giving him a hard time, but just as a strong, unexpected breeze appears, the waifu experiences a skirt lift, which embarrasses her and makes her leave. But anyway, the protagonist receives a call from Mikado to meet on the rooftop. While in that place, this hottie starts teasing the protagonist. The girl gets really turned on, and when she's about to kiss him, she faints. This little guy shows up, and his voice sounds familiar. The guy is disappointed that the protagonist is acting like a crazy horn dog with all the girls, which is not ideal for his daughter, Lala. Wait, daughter? This seemingly harmless fellow is King Deviluk. The protagonist, like all of us, thinks he's an idiot, but since the old man is furious with Rito, he grabs him by the neck and plans to destroy the entire planet along with him. However, Rito stops his hand and won't let go. His determination to protect everyone makes the king see that this kid has some potential. Of course, Lala shows up and tells her father to stop messing around. But the guy gives the protagonist a huge challenge. Tio, become the #1 man in the universe. If you can't do it within a few months, I'll return to destroy the entire planet. And that's just the beginning of this chaotic love story. But don't worry, this wild ride is far from over. Stick around, because the next part is dropping very soon, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Spoiler alert, things are about to get even crazier. Stay tuned.